doing it to it?
I think we're absolutely live right now, but I got no way to get the chat, so it's a shit show. It is a shit show.
If you hand me my phone, I can maybe get. Oh, somebody says that sexy voice. Somebody heard Sigler out there. Bradley Henry.
I don't know when these came from.
8 o'clock. So those are an hour old when we tested.
Very old.
Now,
okay.
yeah.
Now we should be. Let's take a look. Channels. And we're streaming. We got some people.
All right.
There we go. Now we're
and we do know that earlier there was a 20-minute delay. So
don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's not that they actually said that was normal. There's nothing we can do about it.
Okay.
Hello, welcome everybody to our first. I'm gonna lean over here with my girl to our first remote Scott Sigler Slices. It has been a bit of a shit show to try and get this going. However, the one problem we usually have with you guys is the sound, and the sound seems to be just fine. So now we're coming over here. Chat.
And let's see. It seems like we
channels we are on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just let us know if you can.
So that was 8 o'clock. That's all 8 o'clock. Yeah.
That's 8 o'clock.
Yep, that's me earlier today. So I think we have to wait a few minutes. Yeah, that's why I was sort of saying.
A long delay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Hello, friends. Hello, Cobalt. I love that you're the one who came in first. That's so fantastic.
Gang, we can see stuff here. We can't see a lot of stuff here, so I'm going to have to keep messing with that because I don't think I have the chat app. Let me take a look.
It's so funny. I have the chat app on my phone, on my computer.
Okay.
I'm still using AOL.
Restream chat is what you know what it's called, obviously.
No, I literally couldn't remember right there. Restream chat, and I did not get that, so that's okay. So we'll close that.
Is there? Oh, I thought I saw it.
There's no.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay, fine. If you want to look, we'll look again.
No, that's all right. I just Restream chat app right there.
You're son of a bitch. Look at you. Always such a smart ass with you.
Why you always got to be so smart? That's all right. We'll go without.
What the heck? Okay. Well, we've got the chat, which it's over here.
Sure.
It's over here. So.
Oh, but everybody's in here. Ian Seakill is in here.
Are you sure about that? Hello. Now I am talking. Can you hear me? Let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's go to. Here we go. Boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our little show. We are in Stamford, Connecticut, and took a little bit of work to get done. The biggest thing we had was we were going to use our iPhones as cameras, but iPhone has this new feature called Center Stage that automatically pans the camera and zooms the camera, and usually sort of zooms like over here somewhere to the right of my ear. So it's cannot hear Scott. That doesn't, okay.
Scott, talk louder.
I also
Scott. Hear. Marburg. It's freaking Thursday.
Hold tight, guys. We're going to get this figured out.
Only hear A.
Okay. So it looks like you guys should be able to hear me now.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Check. Okay, hold on, everybody. Hold on. Because we have a 20 to 30 second delay. So now I need to, guys, I'll watch your chat room. Saying there's no sound. Oh, okay. Let me take a look here. This should be muted. There we go. Mic aux muted, and now we're all here. You're right, there's very little sound coming through there.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Give me a second, please.
Sure.
You guys probably now can't hear and our guest. Hey, Chris. So it's probably, we still have a very low volume issue going on here. So I'm going to try and fix that. Advanced audio properties. Hollow, left, right, mono, monitoring off. Okay, good. We'll get this figured out. Hold tight, everybody. Much better on YouTube, they say. Can hear A just fine. You guys, you can hear A, but you can't hear me. Go ahead and say something, babe.
I think I've read several comments. They're saying they can hear my mic just fine, you not so much, and they haven't heard Jude yet. So they're thinking they can hear me clearly, and it's coming in hot, and everybody else is not on the same
go to
volume.
Channel 1, Channel 2, Channel 3, Channel 4, Channel 1. Just tap your mic for a second.
I am tapping my mic.
Oh, because I'm over here and I'm on 3. Is that why?
Is that why?
Check. Now you guys should be able to hear me a lot better. I'll get the headphone volume in a second. A talk.
I'm talking. So we dial in the volume. I think we still hopefully have good audio for me. And I'm still talking just so that you can measure things in.
Very strange. We're going to go.
Does Jude need to do the same thing?
Yep. Now,
Yep.
Jude, go ahead.
Frog went a courting, he did right.
Doo-da.
It's Crambone.
Oh,
Okay, here we are now. I have to now go
Chicken
back
in
to
a
the
bread
other.
pan picking out dough.
This is what I deal with, you guys. These two are just out of control. Okay, Jude's mic sounds good. Chris can hear Ava. Crank the volume all the way up.
Hey, Dan Baker.
So here we go. Right now, we're delayed here. Ladies and gentlemen, probably gonna wind up sharing a microphone here in a second.
Yeah.
All right, this is me talking. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Only Scott is too quiet. This is the same crazy shit we had before. Very strange. I cannot possibly figure that out because A-Talk.
I'm talking. I'm also.
Talk.
Hello, hello.
So we're all getting straight up on the signal. Somehow it's. Okay, so.
Is it possible that that's a bad mic?
No.
Oh.
Because you can hear it and you can see it. It's just not making the transition over to from OBS to their ears.
Oh, okay.
So.
Do we need to unplug yours?
Here's what we're gonna do. No, we don't. That won't. So let me show you. When you
Unplug
see
your own
this,
mic.
this is the computer's audio level, okay? And mine was even higher than this, but they can hear you, but they can't hear my mic. So that means this is all getting the right signal. It's some setting in OBS that's drowning out line 3.
The reason I was asking is because will that be audio on audio wires to cause buzz or something?
No,
Okay.
no, we still
Yeah,
got a
that's
little bit
what
of
I was
buzz. All right, so here, entertain the crowd.
I am entertaining the crowd. So as Scott dials this in, it looks likely that Scott and I are going to share a mic so that you get to hear everybody. I know things to say, but those are not naughty things. We didn't get any street meat and we didn't get any street nuts. But we got bagels and we walked to Central Park. And, you know, Scott's a musician. And I realized, oh, shit, like, how far are we from the Imagine Mosaic in Strawberry Fields? Because that would be sort of fun. So as I'm kind of trying to stealthily look it up on my phone so I don't tell him, he's like, listen, I got about a half an hour. I want to walk for about a half an hour. And I was like, great, because my knee is janky anyway, as I'm Googling. And it's like, Bitcoin. Yeah, people are starting to hear me.
Okay. So now that, of course, we have things figured out on the home front, the road front leaves a few challenges yet to be figured out. Turned on Logic to record this for the podcast. That somehow shut off the sound you guys were getting. So that's a whole separate issue we have to solve. So we're so far behind on this, I can't tell what's going on.
I was just talking about Strawberry Fields.
Yes. Now, guys, just tell me if you can hear me at a normal level right now. We got rid of the microphone that seemed to be bad. Now we should be having pretty good sound here. So they're very weird delays, and it's not much I can do about that. David Lamb says, yes, sound, go ahead and talk, eh?
I'm talking. I just so that you know, I was just like a few seconds, maybe 2 minutes ago, talking about Strawberry Fields, so it's faster.
Yes. Okay, so now everybody tell us if you could hear A talking, and now Jude, go ahead and talk.
Hello, everyone.
Talk a little more.
Everyone sounds great.
Yeah, that's 20 seconds ago. Keep talking.
Oh, is it? All right.
Just keep talking until they say Jude.
All
How
right.
was your day?
My day was awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick.
Are you excited to be here?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have tomorrow off also.
I know. I'm excited to hang out with family. This has been a great trip for us family-wise and stuff like that. So this is all super cool. As you guys already know, this is just a hangout. You guys can answer or ask us questions.
Unscripted.
Yeah, unscripted. Just you can ask Scott and I questions. You can ask Jude and I questions. You can ask the Brolos questions. If you need to. Edward says much better.
Why don't you ask Jude what his favorite Sigler book is?
Okay. What's your favorite?
So the only Sigler book I've ever read was Alive.
Oh, nice. And what'd you think?
I wanted to read the other ones, but then it was a young adult novel, and I thought, I'm an old adult. I shouldn't be reading young adult novels.
Well, okay, so this is the thing that I think everybody gets to have. Like, if you want to read it, you get to read it no matter what age it's for. And me, a child, people who are you judge your own kids, but if you're an adult, you get to read whatever you want.
And I'm a little bit mad at myself because ever since my eyes started going bad, I've read less and less and less.
Did you forget about audiobooks?
I've never really used the audiobooks.
Bro,
So
I'm going to hook you up.
Please do.
Yeah.
So I've said this a number of times. I'm in no way, shape, or form technophobic.
Yeah.
I am very techno-lazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to learn anything new.
Techno idiots,
Right?
That's
Yeah,
me. I'm
that's
like,
it.
if I touch it sparks.
People don't believe me when I say I fixed electronics in the Navy. Like, no,
I love it.
not when you can't
it.
cut and paste, bro.
Well, but it's interesting because that seems like you should just have a shorthand knowledge, but they're not really the same thing at all.
You just get used to doing what you do.
Yeah,
And
we do
then
that all the time.
Anytime I'm like, oh, what's this? Like sharing the Twitch stream address with a guy at work today.
Yeah, was a
He was
lot.
on my phone, and he did the exact same thing I would have done on a desktop. I just never thought to do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
It
there's
makes me seem older than I really.
right.
you know?
Yeah, and then there's weird things like you can't download a zip file to your iPhone, but you can download a zip file to your iPad and your computer. Because you can't open it on an iPhone. They don't have this software and it's too big or whatever. But I also
Yet mom still calls me to ask for computer advice.
yeah, we are still tech
And I feel
support.
like I'm smart when I'm like, oh yeah, I got you.
So
So I really don't have a problem reading young adult books. I just wanted to make up an excuse because I didn't read any more of Scott's books. I'm a horrible Brolo.
I didn't even throw you under the bus on that one. Sorry about that.
Such a bad Brolo.
But here's the thing. No, what's lovely is we just discovered, just like me, like if I only read with my eyes, I would read maybe 3 books a year. That I will read with my ears as well, which is, guess what? It's still reading a book. You can still talk about it thoughtfully. You can still enjoy it with your friend.
I've listened to you so much talk about being an audiobook actor.
Yeah,
voice
for
actor,
sure.
Right?
For sure.
Chris, you are correct.
We got huge pauses now.
training manuals, like they used to say.
Did you read? Do you read adult books, Jude? It's asking if you read adult books.
I answered. That's
No.
the training manuals is what they referred to them in the military.
But this is the thing I had to learn as an adult as well, that reading with your ears is just as important and comprehensive as reading with your eyes. But a lot of times you think, I don't have time to read, because every time I try to read for 10 minutes, I get distracted, blah, 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 blah. Here's the sort of flip side of this, because I am absolutely getting you into audiobooks, because you work in a job where you could do that too. Like you can have time where you're driving to work, like there's downtime.
I have like a 15, 20-minute commute. It's not really long.
But 15, 20 minutes for a whole month, you get through most of a book. That's my
true.
point, you
I didn't
know?
think of that.
And it's super fun because you can read anything you want. But here's the thing I have to tell you. The flip side of that for you and me, for the Stenson kids, the number of times that I have fallen asleep and the audiobook just keeps going, and then I have to guess where I tried to end.
Oh. I thought there was going to be cops would get called on me because I'm in the middle of the night in my car. Like,
No. Okay, that might happen
what's
to you
going
too.
on? What's next?
Sir, I see you drove into your driveway at 6 p.m. It is now 9:29 and you're still sitting in your car.
Please,
Are you
sir.
safe? They're going to do
You
that.
are.
Hey, Artificial Selection, so nice to see you. I also, Edward Rocco, I saw that you were saying things are fine. Let's see. Dr. T. Campbell. Dr. T says, I have found that listening to audiobooks activates the same area of the brain as does reading with the eyes. It's not the same as listening to music. And I agree with you. I will also say that I've found listening to books and reading books are similar, but listening to books and listening to podcasts that are short stories are a different experience as well. And I think it's because podcasts that are short stories, you see you hear crowd interaction, not see. You hear crowd interaction and stuff like that. And like you guys see with us, if you happen to see us talk live and then you also listen to the podcast, a lot of the live flubs and stuff are cleaned up or taken out altogether. But I think you might really enjoy it.
Probably, right.
And especially because you're such a sci-fi, like you love a good, like you do get into a great story.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I will tell you this. I'll be the first Stenson kid to tell a story out of school, which is unfortunate because it's going to go poorly for me.
Probably not.
But I will say that I can't remember how old you were, but I want to say maybe it was your 27th birthday, 30th birthday, something like that. We were both working on Fridays in St. Louis and both living on Sheridan Drive. And you got, from our parents, you got the Star Wars trilogy, 6, 7, what we now know as 6, 7, and 8, A New Hope.
In VHS.
In VHS.
Yeah.
And that was a gift, and he wanted that, and he received that as a gift. And when my mom said, okay, so we're going to go here for dinner, we're going to go here and celebrate, your birthday or whatever, what do you want to do after that? He was like, I want to go home and watch these movies with you. And we did exactly that. It was super fun. Do you remember that?
Because Mom wanted to go out because that was the pre-alcoholic Jude days. Where you still, hey, we can go to a bar.
True.
Can you guys hear me?
I can. Yeah, now we can.
Now we're going to just leave the focus on you guys to chit-chat a little bit. I'm now logged in YouTube. Took me 3 apps to get into something. Now we've got some questions. Let's see if I can guide this through that. Dr. Campbell says, jump into it, Mr. Jude. You will love it.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? I thought
You know a lot of doctors.
We do.
This is a smart
we
crowd.
we are very, very lucky to have lots and lots and lots of diverse and lovely people following us.
And
I know.
please imply to Chris Gall that I'm cool.
Oh, here we go.
Chris Grohl, he's cool.
Hey, David Lamb asked, a Sigler fan asked me yesterday, what is the next big book release of Scott's that will be in 2025? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, and I will say I'm not sure I know exactly what will come next, but I will reiterate just for you, and especially if you guys are listening. Oh, no, we're not recording, right?
No.
Okay. So you guys who...
The video's recorded.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to figure out pull the video from the...
Terrific.
From the oven, they didn't put that out, so yes. Go
Terrific. So...
So no spoilers.
No big spoilers, no. But if you guys are interested in what is coming out from Empty Set in 2025, Empty Set Entertainment has a handful of releases planned. There is Slay Book 2 in audiobook, paperback, and hardcover. There is GFL 7 in audiobook, paperback, and hardcover. that name is also not yet revealed. And we have Death is Black. Now, Death is Black and Slay Book 2, you will have heard all of that content already if you're a podcast listener. If you're not a podcast listener, you can just buy that as a whole audio content and have it be new. And if you are a podcast listener, we do edit and re-record and do punch-ins and edit the story and things like that. So it will be not materially different, but factually a little bit different because we will go in and clean up first edit, second edit, things like that. Those are the three things that we know will be coming out in 2025 in some order is what I will tell you. Other than that, we may have a couple of other things coming from some of our publishing partners. But
which ones did you say? Slay?
I said Slay, GFL 7, and Death is Black.
And Death is Black. And then there is the project I'm not allowed to talk about called Warpath, which I'm not allowed to tell you when it will be out. But I can give you a hint. It probably won't be out in 2025 or 2027. So those of you who are as good at math as I am have no fucking idea what I just said. Some of you may be able to figure that out. So that is 4 books that we think we will have out by the end of I won't say the year, but then also Slay 3 should be out by the end of 2026. So, and did I mention Crypt Book 2? Crypt Book 2 may be out by the end of 2025. I'm fairly sure Crypt Book 3 will be out 2026, and then probably Crypt Books 4 and 5 in 2027. Here you go, Pumpkin.
Okay, so you guys, if you have questions for the Stenson siblings, please ask them in the chat room. I'm going to jump in since we have a special guest tonight. I'm going to jump in and ask you a question. If you are talking to people in your life, your friends, your colleagues, your Legion friends, whoever it is, and you're talking about me, and they say, "Oh, were you guys tight when you were young? Like, were you friends when you were there? Like, tell us a story about when you were in school together." What's the story you tell?
So I say that we've become best friends since we both graduated high school. Since we are no longer living under the same roof, we've become much better friends.
You're not wrong. Although you were my first protector, one of my earliest memories is being.
You have to do that.
Yeah, but still,
I
remember.
There are some siblings that don't. But
yeah, I remember being on the top of a big metal slide after church at Santa Maria in the Bronx when we were kids.
Oh, that long ago.
And somebody kind of like, I was afraid to go down it, and some kid on the playground was mad that I was wasting time kind of, and I was stuck at the top, and you went and were like, "That is my sister." That's one of my earliest memories.
So you had told that story before, and I kind of pictured it at Trinity.
Nope.
But if it was earlier than that,
it was Santa Maria.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't disagree. I think...
Still, one of my favorite stories was you jumping off the back of the pickup truck.
Okay, you got to tell that story. You got to own that. You did that.
So when we were kids,
Actually, at this point, we're going to use this mic and just pass it back and forth.
Sounds good. Okay. So when we were kids.
All right.
We're using this mic.
All right.
Try. Give me that. Guys, we are now all trying to use one mic because I think this is the mic where things are coming through. So in the text, let me know. Go ahead, A.
All right. Jude is going to tell a story about when I jumped off. You said it when you jumped off the pickup truck. That is not the way the story starts.
Listen, so when we were young, our parents used to put us on the plane in the beginning of the summer, fly us down to our grandparents in Florida. We'd spend all summer there. Folks would show up at the end of the summer. We'd drive back up. That was pretty standard for 4 or 5 summers, I think, when we were kids. And my grandfather had a fruit and vegetable stand that he ran. And he would go to the grove to pick his own oranges, which was fantastic for me because then I could climb the trees. I got my first little pocket knife. I thought it was great. But you don't drive all that fast through the grove. So I could be in the back of the truck, hop off, run after the truck, put my hands back on the tailgate, hop back on, and then get back in the truck. And I was showing off for that for my sister, and she tried it. And to add a little bit to this story, my grandfather used to buy his cowboy boots every summer. Yeah. Remember that? So you got them cowboy boots, and you were wearing them in shorts, looking like young Sheldon on the opening. And she's running in the grove, and then she couldn't catch back up to the truck and then just fell. And all she could do was scream. And I kind of got in trouble for that, but I understand because you made it seem like I just threw you off the truck.
Yeah, and he just
Wait a sec. Now they say it's muted now. I thought everything was going good. Cobalt says it's muted now. Cobalt, can you hear me okay? Jude just talk softer. Both mics are fine. We're gonna keep working with that mic. But remember,
Okay.
you talk into the mic like this, not at the top. But
right into the mic.
I think
right?
it's working.
Is that
Yeah,
what
go
we're
ahead.
doing?
Yep.
All right. So I
Christine
was
says it's great. Continue, guys.
So he just said, I tell that story as if he threw me under the bus, but you know what else he just did? Threw me under the bus again just now, because oh my God, he told me, he's like, you can do this, and then I did this, and then he waved from the tailgate. And I understand you think you were like, no, you're fine, come on. But what he did to me was, bye.
I might have been waving.
Bye, bitch. Maybe not bye, bitch, but you know.
I get my own room now.
So that's another thing.
Yes.
Tell them that.
Well, no. Early on in the Bronx, we each had our own room,
Very early
right?
on,
Because when we moved up to New Rochelle, we had to share a room.
yeah.
So yeah, when we were going to Florida, most of the time we'd come back to the little tiny. You had a little tiny room.
I did.
I don't think mine was all that much bigger, but I've been by that old house once since I've been back. Yeah. Friends of mine drove me by, and they live like a block away or something.
Super cool. So Jude and I also have the pleasure of, as adults, both living in San Diego, California, and that's a little different. You know, we are adults. We both struggled a little bit to get to our best selves as adults. But there was a time when he was in the Navy and living in San Diego, and some of his best friends were in the Navy and living in San Diego, and I was working and living in San Diego. So he would come home like every 6 months or so. And sometimes I'd watch. So like once you deployed and I watched your Jeep. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah. And didn't you crank the music constantly?
So he had a Jeep Wrangler. He had all the doors off. It was or canvas doors. Like it was just such a cool car. And he's a deadhead, and so the whole Jeep was like tricked out. You know, there was like I think you.
No, I did have a sticker. I don't think it was all tricked out.
Did you have like a spare? Did you have like a spare tire cover or something?
No.
Okay.
No.
But he had on the back of the Jeep, he had something that indicated that he was a deadhead. So I would drive to work for the first time in my life that summer, and people would like honk and wave on the highway or at stop signs.
That's also a Wrangler thing. Like they wave to you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Wranglers drivers.
Okay, so
Yeah, Wrangler drivers wave, and they have the duck now. I didn't have the duck.
oh, is that all the ducks on the?
Yeah,
Like, oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is because I don't have the Wrangler anymore.
But both of those things, I didn't know. I didn't know that there was a Wrangler thing until just now, and I for sure didn't know that deadheads kind of high sign to each other. So that.
Well, no, it was Wrangler drivers would like wave with two fingers up or something. Okay. And I had a friend of mine who, in the 80s, when the Wranglers went to square headlights, he was like, round headlight Wrangler drivers wouldn't wave at me.
So people were doing that all that summer long, and I thought like, oh, I've finally come into my own, you guys. Everybody's looking at me, and then I think it was Peter, right? So I come home from work one day. And I come up the stairs, and my first husband, he's all, Corky Romano, what is going on? Because I forgot that if I turn up the sound of the radio or the CD or whatever in that car,
Brian's asking you a question.
I can still hear the black mic that I'm holding.
I got it. Just keep going.
I'm curious if my messages are going through. Yeah, Spike, we see you. We're having about a 30-second delay from what you see live and what we see in the chat room, but we can totally hear you. It'll just take a little bit of time. But anyway, so apparently I did not realize that I was making an absolute spectacle of myself in my brother's cool-ass car by turning the radio up super loud, thinking somehow it was still going to stay in the passenger compartment. but the passenger compartment in a Jeep doesn't exist because it's open air. So I was blasting like, "Take on me," at every stoplight, every time. And they were probably high-signing me like, "Bro, we totally see you." I missed all that. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Well, you have to turn it up because to hear.
Yeah, but
right? You just forget to turn it back down as you're driving through neighborhoods and stuff. I still have that problem. I turn the radio up too loud.
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't disturb as many people as when you. But not for nothing. I mean, Jack Straw is really the loudest bass thumping music that you're going to hear, right?
Fair enough. So you are, putting you right on the spot, Jude Stenson. You are a shortwave radio enthusiast. Are you still digging?
Yeah, I just had my license now for 10 years.
Nice. Congratulations.
The 25th is the big annual field day, the big exciting thing. Operate for 24 hours. Should be fun. I avoided getting a radio for my car for the longest time because I got buyer's remorse after I bought my first radio, so I didn't want to do that again. And the Cherokee I had, the passenger side window leaked. So I didn't want to put another piece of electronics in that car. And I've now had the truck for, 5 years? I could probably put a radio in it, and I may. I think my friend Mike Deschamps, who you know, we put an inverter in my truck so that I could run like a fan at a tailgate. And I got to hook that back up and make sure that I didn't screw up my electrical system. Cause
do you need the mic for a second?
Yes, we do have one question. Can't even see. We got so many screens on here. We have one question from the chat room. Jude, any particularly embarrassing story about your sister?
So one of my favorite stories is, I used to call you names, right?
Yeah.
You remember? So we were in the house in Washington, and you were coming out of your room. I was walking towards her, and I called her a name that I was fond of calling her at the time, and she goes crazy. God, quit calling me. Ah! My mother comes storming down the stairs. She goes, "What is going on with you two?" And she's like, "Jude's calling me names." My mother's like, "Jude, quit calling your sister names. What did he call you, Amy?" And my sister goes, "Doo-doo." And my mom laughed in her face, which really made her even more mad. And I had to go out the whole house to get away from the screaming, and my poor mother had to put up with that.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I was so mad, and my mother completely could not keep a straight face. She absolutely laughed at me. She was absolutely on my bully side. So I think one of my favorite stories is actually, unfortunately, I think both of our most embarrassing stories are involve my mother and her reactions. You guys all know her if she's in the chat room. Her name is Marianne Radelsky. She's often in the chat room on the live stream. One of my favorites is Jude and I were fighting, and I think it was in the Neuro apartment in the kitchen chairs.
Oh.
So we were fighting, and I picked up a kitchen chair to try and throw at my brother. How did that go?
Well, I just caught it, and then my tiny little mother threw herself in between the two of us and was like hitting Amy, like, "You don't ever pick up a weapon against someone in this family." And isn't that when you went back by the stereo?
Yep.
And she finally goes, "Quit hitting me," and threw her arm back. And this is how my mom reacted, I swear. She went, and
So
drilled her.
Yeah. So I was trying to get away from the fricas, and I hit my mom accidentally. I came out and hit her, and she absolutely squared up against me. It was like, "Oh no." And I guess the lesson there is you don't pick up a weapon against your family member, but apparently if they're your own guns, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I have to jump in here again. A question for both of you from the chat room, namely someone named Scott Sigler in the chat room, asking a question. Wasn't there some kind of assault with a kitchen utensil, but it shouldn't have happened because you were invisible? But can you tell? There you go.
So it was an NFL blanket with teams from 1975, say. Like there wasn't the expansion ones recently. All written on it. Oh, I almost snotted, huh? So if one of us covered ourselves in that blanket, that particular blanket, and yelled, "I'm protected," and you had to say it like that, the other one could just wail on him, and no one would cry, no one would get mad. We'd just trade the blanket and go back to beating the crap out of each other. But if I brushed up against her wrong without the blanket, she would cry, and my dad would get mad at me for hitting my sister, which happened quite a bit.
So listen, part of the protected blanket and the wailing. So I remember a couple of other fun facts, which is once we had cast iron frying pans. They make like an egg-sized one, like a little egg-sized one, and as long as you were under the blanket on the well, I remember under the blanket on the couch, but it could have been under the blanket.
Right, yeah, I agree with you on that. It's probably on the couch.
Under the blanket on the couch in the living room, not in our. We shared a room. We had a room divider. We had essentially what is now the primary bedroom with the primary bathroom suite and all that stuff. We shared that with a room divided in the middle, so it couldn't be in our room, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then it could be under that same blanket, which was Jude's blanket. So it came out of our room onto the couch. Then you were protected, and even hitting with a cast iron frying pan was like, no, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt. Eventually, I do also remember we couldn't hit elbows because the point.
Yeah, probably something that every time we got hurt, we're like, all right, we can't do that no more. All right, no more.
What kind of idiots? What kind of idiots? And that lasted a long time. Also, I think I am the only.
That could be because we ate the macaroni off the. So one of my mother's cousins is Aunt Maureen.
No,
I don't know.
No, I made that.
Oh, you made that? The gold?
Yeah, Maureen was the one her cousin. Maureen was the one who found us, but I made it.
Oh, and we were just eating the macaroni off this piece of craft art that was spray painted gold.
You guys know this. You've done this in kindergarten. Like that's the assignment. You get a piece of paper, you glue a bunch of macaroni in it. I think this one was in the shape of an American eagle.
That's what I feel like. Yeah, I feel it was an American eagle.
Yeah, like a bald eagle. And then we spray painted it gold, and it was like a gift. And I guess we got peckish. We just, pulled it down, sat behind a chair in the living room.
But I think I had eaten it first, and you caught me. That's in my memory.
I never miss a meal. Y'all know that. Like, I'm getting in on that. So we did that.
Yeah, right? So that paint probably sticks with us. The microplastics and that paint is what's, sending us downhill. You bum knee.
It's true. It's probably all of our adult problems is because nobody kept us away from the paint. I do have a question. I would like for you to regale our friends with the time Mom made you play D&D with me so she knew it wasn't Satan worship.
What was it? No. I thought one of us was sick and she was trying to entertain us. Was it? It was more for the.
I remember it was you wanted to go to Hunter's Point to play with your friends, and before she let you do that, she had to know that it was not terrible.
No. I wasn't allowed to go to Hunts Point.
Oh.
So that was the thing. I couldn't go to that friend's house because it was in Hunts Point.
Oh. Okay.
And because Hunts Point's a pretty bad neighborhood, or it was. It still is. It's not prostitution, drugs, that kind of stuff. I got busted coming off the L because Mom knew I went to Hunts Point. And that's how much of a nerd, right? I'm in 9th grade, running down to the bad hood to play Dungeons and Dragons. But when Mom played with us, remember, she argued everything. Like, you'd roll, be like 18. You'd be like, all right, I shot you with an arrow, and it caused this many, damage points. And she was like, but orcs have tough skin. That wouldn't work that way. Like, she'd argue everything. You can't carry that much gold. Yes, I can.
So that was it. My mom was trying to make sure that she wasn't allowing Jude to play, and that she's not alone to play something. Like, she wanted to make sure it was an okay game, and she wanted him to include his younger sister, so we had to play, and neither one of us enjoyed it because my mother argued every single point. She played as an orc. He shot her with an arrow. I think it was almost a natural 20. I think he made a
very high roll, and she's like, "It wouldn't work." Like, it does, Mom. Like, you don't understand.
And Jude was the dungeon master, so he was saying, "No, the way this works is it worked because I said it worked." And she was like, "But orcs have tough skin."
So Dr. Campbell, basically played that one game of D&D and then did not play again until she was an adult. And the carnage from Dungeons and Dragons was also heavily a major problem where I grew up in Sheboygan, Michigan. because Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, Rob Otto, my co-author in Slay, myself, and several other people in town were on the Satan worshiper watch list with the district attorney of Sheboygan County because we played D&D. So they were watching us in case we were going to like sacrifice a dog or some shit like that, which is wild because there were people doing Satan stuff up there on the old tanning factory that had collapsed. Super, super spooky place. So we had just an enormous amount of D&D has just been a huge amount of trouble for this country. Terrible.
Not for nothing, you just said the old tanning factory, as if that's not horror story enough. So, I will say, you guys may know this, I have terrorized both these men I love to death in my life. I've terrorized my brother playing D&D, and also the next time I played D&D was a charity event at Emerald City Comic Con in 2018, and Empty Set had sponsored something, so we got to play. We sat at a table and we played, and I infuriated my entire table because I was the person who ran the armory, and I wanted to inventory everything before we moved on. And everybody was like, okay, and I took forever to do that. And then I wanted to teach my horse to read. And they were like,
Okay.
and that's what everybody
Get
did.
a
Like,
spell. Just get a spell. Come on, make it easy.
I did during the pandemic actually learn to play D&D and do a super fun campaign, and finally got my shit together and did that right. What are you excited about this weekend? You're taking us to experience a special kind of food.
Oh, no. So Stamford style pizza. There's a hot oil pizza that they make that I found it's the best here. I mean, they've had other places, but when I worked at the exit down from this hotel. So it's very much the hood I was in for work. Even the local pizza shops have good hot oil pizza, right? And
What
I
is
haven't
a
really.
hot oil?
It's the spicy oil put on the pizza. It's just, and they put a pepper right in the middle. It's great. So we'll get some, and it's very thin crust, So you can get it with other stuff, and the restaurant, like we've been talking about, the original one, Rico's, has like old pictures on the wall of old celebrities and things like that. And I've only been there to pick up pies. I've never went and sat down, so I'm kind of excited to go do that and get to look around and see what famous people. If I recognize anyone, they could be all Stamford, Connecticut idiots, and I'm like,
That happens every once in a while. Scott Sigler, how are we doing on our podcast? All right, should we wrap this up while we're still ahead, while we're running?
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up. As usual, thank you guys for your patience with our audio issues. This is the first remote we've done with our more advanced equipment, and obviously there's a learning curve to this. We're going to figure that out. But Jennifer Hawthorne in the chat room pointed out that, I'm going to paraphrase for her, oh, sure, people get into gangs and shoot each other and run drugs, but how many of those people are on the DA's Satan worshiper watch list? And how many of those people abused their siblings with an iron frying pan in the head? Very, very few. The gangster level in this room right now is astronomical.
although I will go to my grave being able to say I never gave my sibling a concussion.
And I cannot.
Did you give him a concussion?
I did, with a baseball bat.
Did we already cover that story? What? Okay. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I just found out that my wife is a domestic abuser with a weapon that would easily be construed as second to first degree murder. So I'm going to need to get more information on this right now.
I would just say in my defense, I was 6 and he was antagonizing me. You go.
And I want to believe it's one of the Yankee Stadium bats that you got with like someone's name on it, like Reggie Jackson, Thurman Munson back in the day. Yeah. But you had a stick, didn't you? And you had taken this stick like a walking stick, and you were like keeping it, and you were like carving it, and I snapped it over my knee.
Yep.
And she picked up a pair of pants out of the laundry and said, "I'll rip your jeans," and then can't rip the jeans. And so the thing that was sitting right there, she just picked up the bat, and I remember,
like this.
and whacked me in the head. And my mother was in nursing school at the time, and I went and took a nap. And she got home from school, and my grandmother goes, "Well, A hit Jude in the head with a bat, and he's been asleep all afternoon." So they had to race us down to the hospital. And then my mother said, I got things the week or the month before she learned about them in school. So I had a post-concussive syndrome, right, where you're like seeing things. And a week or two later, she learned about that in nursing school.
My grandmother also added, Jude has been asleep all afternoon, and also his pupils are 2 different sizes. So I did, yeah, I gave my brother a concussion. I do want to say, I know we have to wrap up. I am absolutely, completely grateful and blessed to be sitting here with these 2 men. I love you both very, very much. I appreciate you coming to this show.
And not for nothing, everything you've done for me since the concussion has well made up for it. I promise you.
And I think we're probably done, huh?
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We're going to hopefully record a couple of podcasts with some people here at StokerCon in Stamford, Connecticut. We will, of course, be back next week with a brand new Slay episode. Also, episode 100 of Slay. And our guest at the end of that episode will be none other than the person who contributed to those 100 episodes, co-author of Slay, Rob Otto. However, I'll warn you guys now, that's our first Zoom interview since we got our new gear, so who fucking knows what's going to happen. But that's going to do it for all of us. You guys are great. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll do more of these as we go on the road for cons, Dragon Con, Comic Con. We'll get the tech dialed in.